Welcome to the Reboot, everybody, the show where we try to bring back beloved and not so beloved movies from the past. Mary, John, Asher, Brett. The film we're going to talk about today is The Princess Bride, the 1987 film that has a special place in a lot of our hearts, starring the illustrious Fred Savage as a sick kid whose grandfather Peter Falk tells him a tale written by S. Morgenstern, Chapter 1. Let's take a look.
Hey, how was this sickie? Huh? I brought you a special present.
What is it?
It was the book my father used to read to me when I was sick, and I used to read it to your father.
I will always come for you.
But how can you be sure?
This is true love.
Oh, no. Is this a kissing book?
No. Actually, there was a lot of treachery, peril, and revenge.
Prepare to die.
But I've got my country's 500th anniversary to plan, my wedding to arrange, my wife to murder, and Gilda to frame for it.
So it is this tale of Princess Buttercup, who has a long lost love that she reunites with, who is now a dread pirate, and they have to kill a six-fingered man. There is a mantra chanting Spanish swordsman and Andre the Giant. Really all you need to know. Fantasy, greatness, iocane powder. What do you guys think about it? Did you see this as a kid growing up, or are you new to it?
No.
Kid? No.
I think it didn't cross the Iron Curtain.
Gotcha.
So I didn't watch it as a kid. I just watched it this year.
Yeah.
For the first time.
So what did you think of it, seeing it? Was it good or bad?
It was good, but scenes are too long.
The scenes are too long.
But I was given it. I knew it's an old movie, and I knew it's kind masterpiece for kids and people love it. So I knew it's a classic. So I was kind of maybe biased.
Biased in a good way.
In a good way, yeah.
Okay.
So I totally loved it, but I would change things.
You would change things. Good. I'm glad that you would change stuff because that's what this show's about. John?
I grew up watching that movie. I watched it so many times. I read the book. Watched it a bunch. Like probably 75% of people who have fenced in their life, that's the reason that I started fencing, was because of that movie. Briefly in college.
Show us.
Foil or EP?
Foil. But it was very briefly in college. But anyway, yeah, I love it. I mean, the cast is great. They've gone on to do great things. It has a very unique tone and feel. No movies like it, which is makes our job tough.
Yeah, Asher, you like this movie?
Yeah, it was a big family movie. Like my extended family, like every summer, every Christmas, we would just watch this movie. It's like the most quoted movie in my family, so it's very special to me.
I remember the day that my brother and my mom went to go see this movie without me. And I think I had school or some kind of event, and they went together. And I was like, oh darn, no movie like got through to me as a 5-year-old that I was like, oh, I need to see this. But I remember being 5 years old, and my brother and my mom went and saw it without me, and they told me it was great. And then as soon as it came out on video, I saw this movie so much I can quote the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think I saw it in theaters either. I wish I had. Maybe someday it'll return.
Yeah, we had like it was like copied from Showtime or something, and we would just watch that over and over again. Yeah,
we had movies, a lot of them on VHS for the same reason, and a lot of them had like a 3-second moment where obviously someone who was trying to hit play hit record again on the remote. So there's just like 5 seconds of the news, and then it comes back. Oh gosh, so good. Anyways, Asher, we're gonna start with you.
Okay.
Why don't you pitch us your reboot of Princess Bride?
Okay, so for my reboot idea, I decided to kind of delve into. So I read the book and I've seen the movie 1,000 times. Kind of the history behind. So when we meet Wesley again in the story, when he and Princess Buttercup kind of meet up again, and he's the Dread Pirate Roberts. He talks about how he became the Dread Pirate Roberts. So I really wanted to kind of go into the history of the Dread Pirate Roberts. So my idea is for a mini-series that each episode covers a different Dread Pirate Roberts. So it'd be called the Dreaded Pirates. So it starts with the original Dread Pirate Roberts and how he kind of got his reputation, a rags to riches story. And then next is Cumberbund, who he talks about in the movie and the book, I think.
Right. He said, "My name is Cumberbund." That's the previous Dread Pirate Roberts.
Right. Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah. So Ryan gave him the title of Dread Pirate Roberts, and before that, it was Cumberbund.
It's just the least dreadful name.
Well, so yeah.
No one in a cummerbund is dreadful.
It's like Humperdinck.
So yeah, so his story is he's more of like a bumbling, like reluctant pirate who's, more of a gentleman pirate, doesn't really like the job. And then the next one is Ryan, who's actually was a pirate before, and they decide to kind of merge forces since he's like Cumberbund isn't the greatest pirate and he's really excited to pass the title along. And then the next episode kind of covers Wesley and how he's kidnapped and sort of taken in by the Dread Pirate Roberts and how he eventually becomes.
So yours is a TV show. I missed this.
Yeah, sorry, miniseries.
Miniseries, got it. Limited series on HBO.
Right.
Okay, got it.
And then after Wesley's story, it would be sort of a fusion of the book and the movie. So in the book, I think they talk about someone called Pierre, who's supposed to be like next in line to take the title of Dread Pirate Roberts. But in the movie, he kind of Inigo Montoya, they say like, oh well, you should take on my role. So I saw it as someone who thinks that he's going to take over for Wesley, and then Inigo Montoya comes on the ship, and they both kind of have to fight for the title of. Or awkwardly fight for the title of Dread Pirate Roberts. So that's the miniseries. So yeah, each episode is a different pirate. I saw the showrunner for it as Stephen Moffat, who does the BBC Sherlock. He's also done Doctor Who. So it's a really fun literary adaptation. So I thought that he would be a good fit for it. So for the casting for the different pirates, I saw the original is Benedict Cumberbatch, I guess, with Stephen Moffat, Sherlock. And then Cumberbund would be like a bumbling British actor, like a Simon Pegg or a David Tennant or something. Ryan, since he's more of like a piratey pirate, I saw him as someone like a Idris Elba.
Okay.
Wesley would be played by Dan Stevens. Pierre would be played by Riz Ahmed, who's in The Night of, Rogue One. And then Inigo Montoya would be played by Oscar Isaac.
Okay.
So that's,
I like Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
That's a good cast.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of crossover with her, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's hear it, John.
Okay, so this is the sort of reboot that people are very worried about trying to reboot because it's a movie that's much beloved. Many people will say, why would you ever reboot this? And I think the answer is not to just redo it. You don't need to, it was great, but to see more and to go into more depth. And to get that more depth, like Asher, I would not reboot it as a movie. I would reboot it as like a 6-episode Netflix series because they are in.
So
I would go for that. And so the cool thing about Princess Bride is that it's a world that anyone can come up with stuff you could put in that world. Quirky, funny stuff that sort of fits in, that's fantasy, but fantasy light. I think it'd be very easy to expand in that way. And also, the book has a lot of material that was never in the original movie. There's a lot of great scenes, the Zoo of Death or whatever.
What is that?
So it's when he goes to the torture chamber, that torture chamber is just one part of like a 6-level awesome things with places to hunt and monsters and all that.
What?
So you could have a ton of detail there. And the cool thing is if you have 6 episodes and you have all this time, you can go more in depth into what was Buttercup's experience in imprisonment. We have a brief scene where she threatens suicide, but we could go more in depth into that. His experience as the Dread Pirate Roberts, becoming that could be an episode. Inigo Montoya's quest to learn fencing to avenge his father. All of that, you could go more in depth into these things and you'd have the time to do it while maintaining the core characteristics of the show is that it's not a CGI effects laden crazy thing. Like I would want practical effects. Keep it simple and grounded.
I will tell you that
romance.
The practical thing is what the practical sets, the limited set budget that they had in that movie is what struck me when I watched it recently. Like you can tell that the cliff of insanity, the top of it is just a sound stage. They didn't even shoot it outside.
And the fencing spot, you can tell that's on a sound stage. And you could go a little bit more high budget than that, but it shouldn't suddenly become CGI dragons flying everywhere and all that because that's not what the show is about. But yeah, you could go in more depth into that. I think it would be awesome. You could keep the romance element and all that. And so I've got some ideas for cast. I think Buttercup, there's a million actresses that could do it, but I think that maybe Sophie Turner could do well as Buttercup.
Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones?
Yes, Sansa from Game of Thrones, but there's a lot of people, Dakota Fanning and stuff like that. I think maybe Emma Watson. I know I'm gonna pitch her for a lot of stuff, but she could be good. For Wesley, I think someone who could do the action and be funny in the dry way that Wesley's funny is Tom Holland, who's gonna be the next Spider-Man. I think that he's young, and maybe in a year or two, I think he could do it. But what I wanna do is this is like a love story to the original movie. So I would want as much of the original cast to be in it as possible. I don't think you'd have a grandfather telling the kid a story. I think you'd have grandparents, and those grandparents would be Cary Elwes and Robin Wright. And they would be telling the kid, I would have a kid, but I don't know any child actors, so you come up with something for that.
But I've got a list, it's really awkward.
CG child actor.
CGI child, Prince Humperdinck I think could be Fred Savage. I think that he would do a good job there. For Inigo Montoya, I also thought Oscar Isaac would be good, but maybe Diego Luna. But someone suggested to me, and I think it would be awesome, Rosario Dawson as Inigo Montoya. I think that would be great. Fezzik, there's really only one person it could be, and that's The Rock. Because Fezzik was funny. He wasn't just a big guy. He had some of the best comic lines in the movie. And I think The Rock could do it. Vizzini, you could either go goofy with Danny DeVito, or you could go more serious and sinister, but still goofy with Christoph Waltz. And Miracle Max, I would like to see, everybody says Steve Carell. I would like to see John Oliver as Miracle Max.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, I love it. I love them both, to be honest. Mary.
Okay. So because it's called fantasy movie, but I didn't see much fantasy in it. So I want to bring all this dragons, CGI, but great work from like Veta Workshop that did Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Avatar, and King Kong. So they're great with CGI and props. So they will bring our believable dragons and special effects, and I want unicorns, and I want all this fantasy that comes from world. It's called fantasy movie. I didn't see much of a magic. I want to see magic and well done special effects, modern and like on the edge of technology. And then so we are touching Tarsem as a director.
Oh, that would be a
yes,
good director.
He's amazing with adapting fairy tales, and every movie he's done is pretty much fairy tale. So beginning from The Cell, The Fall. It's actually a very similar story because it's also being told a story to a little girl, and then the action revolves like inside the imagination of when she heard the story.
That is The Cell.
So that's why it's so weird, because it's like her imagination, what she thinks it is. And he's great with locations, as he's Indian, so our location is gonna be India and all these exotic places, you know, Nepal. His visuals are just stunning. So that's what I wanna make this movie about, just like amazing, fairy tale-ish, lavish visuals, cue visuals.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. God, see, she brought visuals.
I also now want
like super wide shots like this.
And there's no CGI.
Extremely
it's all
wide.
practical.
And this last shot is from, actually he's doing right now Wizard of Oz adaptation called Emerald City, and it's serious. I mean, it's also stunningly beautiful. So let's see how he can, like, this is his material.
That's a really tough decision now, because now I have a full idea of what it could possibly be, and I like both sides of it. I like the embracing the original aspect of it. I could see it being on Netflix as a limited series for both of yours, but now I kind of want to see like a giant. Help me more. Help. Tear down theirs and you tear down the other ones. What
I will take Tarsem actually.
You'll take Tarsem
because the thing about him, so she's totally right. He has some of the most beautiful landscapes and visuals and costume design and all that. But the thing that is true of him is that all of that, even the stuff that you couldn't possibly believe doesn't have computers, is all practical, like The Princess Bride. There's no CGI in The Fall that I know of. And so I think that he could work with grounded but beautiful, the use of color and all that. But she gets the credit because she thought of it first.
Yeah, right? I don't know.
I don't do directors.
As cool as that would be, I kind of disagree, because like with the tone of the film and the tone of the book, it's just, I mean, it's an incredibly unique, like funny tone. Like the book itself is kind of like this, it's commenting on itself, or like this, fake author's writing. So I don't think it's about the fantasy, and I don't think that, I love that sense of humor, and I would definitely want.
So,
and I think this would be too serious and too.
The visuals would make it difficult for you to appreciate the humor.
It seems almost. It would kind of like be like a joke. I don't know. I wouldn't take it seriously if it was The Princess Bride. Any other story, yes, not Princess Bride.
It's like how truly beautiful people can't be funny. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that would be a great way to reboot the Neverending Story.
Yes.
I think that Tarsum doing the Neverending Story with a lot of fantasy, that would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
All right, well, I disagree with literally all of you. And the reason I do is when you said a limited series, I don't think it has to be a limited series. I think it is inherently potentially a procedural. You have a Doctor Who style line of succession through the Dread Pirate Roberts, and that's why I'm going to give it to Asher, just to explore the past, present, and future of the world. And if season 1 goes well, I like both. I think it does lend itself more, since the original movie is so good as a movie. What we need to do is take it into a completely different format in a way that allows us to explore more of the world. But I did like your pitches in terms of what they did for exploring the past, present, and future. So Asher, I will give the green light to. Of course, I am super stupid. So take that for what you will. Thank you guys so much for watching. Which one would you prefer? And do you have your own pitch for how to reboot? And it's not okay to just say we're never gonna reboot The Princess Bride, because this is Hollywood. It'll happen sometime. Thanks for watching. See you next time.